Before we begin, here's a quick message from our sponsors, Voxy, the pay-as-you-go mobile network that gives you unlimited social media for as little as £10 a month. For a limited time only, sign up to Voxy using the link in the description to receive a £40 reward after only 2 monthly payments, and you'll also be directly supporting the channel. So click the link in the description to sign up now. Hello and welcome back to the Blues Focus podcast with me, Tommy Kelsall, Jamie Lawler and Zach Woods. Good evening, boys. How are we all this evening?
All good, thank you, mate. All good.
Good, mate, yeah. Much going on this week?
Not a lot. Working, mate. Working, grinding. The grind is on. Other than that, nah, mate, not a lot. Not a lot.
Can see by the dumbbells we've left in the background.
Yeah, the 5 kg one's missing, which is embarrassing. Like it would look much better if the 30 kg was missing, but no, it's the 5 kg. But that wasn't me using it. That was my mum, right? So I'd like to think I can lift a bit more.
Not is it?
I swear it is. I swear. The 5K, not mine. Everyone starts somewhere, don't they? Everyone starts somewhere. So,
hey, listen, It's an intense leg day. Do you know what I mean? You go for it.
There you go, mate. I did that this morning, mate. Struggling to walk a bit, but there you go. We move.
Struggling to walk. Struggling to walk. God.
Yeah.
Anyway. In today's episode, we will be discussing the new CEO of Birmingham City Football Club, Garry Cook. He was the former City CEO from 2008 to 2011. He's also worked with Nike. I think he was the head of the Jordan brand when he was working there. He's also worked with the UFC and has been even working with the Saudi Pro League as of late. But plenty to discuss. But before we get in, Jamie, I'll come to you first and ask, what do you think to the future of the club with the likes of Garry Cook, Tom Wagner and Jeremy Dale now being in the picture?
I think considering how bad the last 13 years have gone, I think it can't go worse. This is, I'd say we're 90% of the way there, aren't we? The EFL's actually approved it, which is massive. Massive for us. We're on the verge. We just need the Hong Kong Stock Exchange to say yes, and I believe they've pretty much got to. They can't say no to this one, I don't think. Unless something awful happens.
I don't know what else is in the way. I feel like most of it's done now. You know, the BSHL are willing to sell. They've offered it out to this consortium. They've paid up. They've been approved by the EFL. I don't think the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, in my understanding, have got much else to disapprove, really. I feel like it's a done deal.
It's not like they can hold on to the Jude Bellingham deal because that's already been set pretty much that they can't take any money out of that. Yeah, so unless they're holding out on Job's sale, I don't know, the 3 million off Job.
Yeah, perhaps it could be something like that. I feel like, the money they'll get from that is something, they'll want really, which is not right, really. I mean, the amount they're getting really for the price probably could have been a bit more, but it is what it is, isn't it?
We've also had work actually happening to St Andrews, boys. Things are happening.
No. Hallelujah! About time. Yeah. About time. I think it's meant to be November time, isn't it? Where that last is it the Tilton Dumfries and the Cop? I can't remember what they said now, but I think it'll be I think it's fully open by November time, which is amazing news.
Sick.
I know. No, that's good news. Yeah, I think we'll stick with some of the talk about Garry Cook. And I'll give a bit of an insight to him first, just so people have got some idea of what he's like. So he started work with Nike in '96 and headed his way up through to become the head of the project, the Jordan brand. Sorry, I can't spit my words out. But I think everybody knows him at the moment for his work that he's done with Man City. Obviously, he was there before the Saudis invested. He was appointed by the former investor. And yeah, he's been very much in the heart of what City have done since. So I think a lot of the community work he was very much involved in. He brought in some very influential players in the likes of Vincent Kompany and Zabaleta, as well as some other players like Nigel Dion, who even brought Carlos Tevez. Yes, he did bring him across to the other side of Manchester. He did. And yeah, I quite like his... I don't know how you would put it. I feel like his strategy is really towards business. I think it's quite big picture. It's
for good prices.
Yeah, but
in terms of 5 mil for Vinny Kompany.
It makes sense that he is a Blues fan, really, because you can see the community aspect that he's got about his business, but as well, he wants the best for the club as well. So he wants bigger and better things. And I feel like we've always had a decent community side to us, obviously being a very local club and a very loyal club, very loyal fan base. But in terms of like actually pushing that club better and bigger, it's never really been there. So I feel like someone like him could give us some drive in the next few years and really an actual proper drive as well. Nothing that's phony or anything, or just to make a bit of money here and there.
Actual ambition to sign actual players that, and this from looking at his sign, I know take away Tevez's and stuff. He signed quite young players for Man City back in the day as well. Like Company he wasn't in the prime of his career. He was coming into it. He finds players that are going to turn good and he brings them in. And that's what we need. We don't need 32, 33-year-old players. We need to start looking at 23, 24, even younger players that are going to just blossom into incredible first team players for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. I think I won't be honest. I don't know too much about Garry Cook, but from some of the things we've read and heard, I think overall it's got to be a positive. I know things have gone wrong in places. I know Derby County went a little bit wrong. I think Wigan and Preston as well. But if you've been in this business for the last 15 years like he has, there are going to be mistakes along the way. Football's not plain sailing. PE's human, he'll make mistakes. As I said, no expert, but I think it is positive. He seems to have an awful lot of experience. I think the majority of work he did at Man City seems very good. Obviously, it's a big role if you're CEO of the Saudi Pro League. That's correct, isn't it? He was chief executive of the Saudi Pro League, so that's a big role. And I think from reading little bits, his job was to attract the big names across, which obviously Ronaldo, came across, and we're seeing in these recent weeks or so that so many players are now rumoured with a move to the Saudi League. I think it's got to be good for the club, local lad, and he is a Blues fan, is he? Is that definite? He supports Blues.
Yeah. I think that's the whole thing behind him joining as well, because obviously Jeremy Dale is a Blues fan. Tom Baker's not, but he's his partner.
He will be. We'll convert him. Listen, he's a blue nose at everyone's heart. The fact that he came to the fucking Rooster, wherever it was, and put a Granby on the tab, whatever bar it was, listen, that lad is already instated in Blues folklore from that moment on.
Well, that's something I wanted to ask you, actually, Jamie, obviously being the more passionate, or definitely on this podcast about the Blues. I feel like that's something I want to ask you, is that if we do start to pick up and start to become more of a brand, how does it look for the club then?
I think it's the way modern day football's going, though, isn't it? You're not just a football club per se anymore. You're not just whole to your own city kind of thing. It's a very worldwide international thing, isn't it? Everyone will get a part of it. It can't do us any harm. We tried it with the Carson Young when we went over and did the tour of, do you know what I mean? We did China, that tour. Yeah, we won that random trophy over there and shit, didn't we? But do you know what I mean? So it's a branding thing. Listen, America's a great place to brand out if you're going to brand out anywhere. So it can't harm us. I think it'll be good. The American football's getting, the American football over there they play in the MLS, that's getting bigger. Messi's just apparently going to Inter Miami. So, I don't think it will do us any harm at all. I think as a branding thing, I think it's great with the second city of England. Our name literally has Birmingham in it, for fuck's sake. If you look up England, Birmingham's one of the first ones you'll see. So I think it would make sense to start branding and advertising us a bit better and actually get some good proper stuff in there.
Yeah, exactly. So with all the talk as well about new stadiums and everything, which is a way away, and it's just just hypothetical at the moment. So what do you think to that? And I'll ask it to you as well, Zach, as well, because obviously we're both on this podcast as well. So I just feel like, is it something you are in favour of, a new stadium?
I'm very 50-50. I would understand if it had to happen. I have a lot of memories in St Andrews, a lot of fun memories. But if it has to happen, it has to happen, doesn't it? It's one of them. It's the way of the world. I just think it'd be really annoying, I imagine, from Wagner's point of view, if he's had to whack so many million into completing this stadium off, to then have to deconstruct it to build another fucking stadium.
Perhaps, yeah.
It's a bit annoying, isn't it?
Yeah. What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I don't. Now's not the right time for a new stadium, I don't think. I think the money that will be invested in order to build a new stadium could be far better utilised in terms of players on the pitch. I think if we were a club that were selling out in the half or reduced capacity we've got at the moment, and we were a club that were pushing for playoffs and maybe a Premier League place, and we were really advancing and stepping forward as a club and pushing, I think it'd be great. But given that we've been pretty stagnant for the last decade, in and around the bottom of the Championship, not really progressing or moving forward yet, I don't think now's the right time. But give it 5 years, new players come in, we start pushing forward as a club, then I think it would be an appropriate time to build a new ground. But right now, whilst we're 17th, 18th in the Championship and there's problems on the pitch, because, the team was good last season. I think we can all agree we had some good players, but we did finish in 17th place. So, looking at the bigger picture, there's still work to be done on the pitch. So I think the money's better invested into the players, into their wages, get Blues playing good football, pushing up the league, and then we can think about a new stadium. I just don't feel now. And as I said, if we were selling out St Andrews, fair enough. We need a big capacity, but we're not doing that. So now's not the right time, I don't think.
17th's great. 17th's comfortable. I'm going to start naming 17th Daddy's Home because that's how we just seem to end up.
We can't be happy with 17th. I'm
not happy with 17th, but I'm used to it now.
Yeah. Oh, mate. How many seasons is it now? 17th and below? 8 or something?
6. It's
ridiculous.
Sixth season, yeah.
I'm playing Football Manager, obviously, and I finished my first season on the PS5. And I thought, I'll just see where, because I'm in a game with my mate where we took over like lower Prem teams, see how we get on. I thought, look how Birmingham got on, fucking 17th. We even finished 17th on that. I was like, you are taking the piss.
It knows us. It knows us.
Like,
yeah.
Another thing, though, another thing that I was listening to, I was listening to the podcast he was doing for The Athletic with Mark Chapman earlier. And one thing he was talking about at one point was the matchday experiences at football when he was at Man City was very different to how it is nowadays. Which is interesting to think, really, because obviously the survey for the Blues for this season and how you found matchday experiences and everything this season was out the other day. And I thought, what does need changing at the Blues, really? So I'll ask it to you two, the matchday experience. You don't have to go too controversial or whatever, but what needs to be changed in the matchday experience, and what do you reckon the new owners new owners can bring to the table, really?
Jamie, do you want to kick us off?
I'm trying to think, like...
Because what's shit now that needs improving, basically?
I think the only a small thing, but the food over the last year or two has significantly improved. There's a lot more, and I don't think that's just Blues. I think that is the majority of football clubs now. I remember going back about 10 or so years ago. Obviously, I'm fairly close to, or was fairly close to Kidderminster Harriers, and they'd be labelled as, the club with the best food in football because they'd be serving up, not just your pie and chips, but lasagnas, curries, and everything. But that's more. They did, but that's
lasagna
more.
At the Blues.
I kid you not. That was they did. I'm pretty sure they did lasagnas and curries about a decade ago. But now you get you see Footy Scran on Twitter, don't you? You get so much more options for football now. But that is something Blues haven't. Yeah, but that is something Blues haven't been left behind with. Because some clubs still just do your typical pie and chips. But Blues, food's a lot better. Other than that, it's a good. It's a really good question. I'm not too sure. Maybe a win would be nice. That'd be great. That'd be brilliant.
I am not paying £5 for a fucking lasagna to watch Jonathan Lecco kick it out for a fucking throw-in. No. Right. It's not
don't have to worry about him anymore, lad. He's gone off to
lasagna was a bad example. I mean, I think I'm pretty sure they used to do shepherd's pie. No, that was it. It was shepherd's pies they used to do as well. So
they do beef bourguignon as well.
Honestly, no, I swear I'm not. Going back a decade.
You go to Gordon Ramsay restaurants and
no, mate. I swear.
What you do?
Going back a decade.
Do you go into?
Kidderminster Harriers were labelled as like having the best food in football, and it was like a bit of a USP for the club. But now other clubs are called. I'm not going Gordon Ramsay. I know I'm going days.
Beef Wellingtons and everything.
Why is that so extravagant to have a shepherd's pie? You just have it in a little tray. But
yeah, the food is the most you get. It's the most extravagant.
Yeah. The food. Get credit where credit's due. The food I don't eat it, but from what I've seen, the food is good at these days.
I've got a really good opinion on something, so I think the food's really good. I've never had any of it, but it's
no,
really
I
good,
haven't.
yeah.
But the amount of options and looking at it, it just looks good and it smells good, man. When you walk through the turnstile, it does smell good. That is an opinion. What do you mean? That is an opinion. Why?
If you've
It
never had
smells
the
good.
food.
But it looks good. Like if you showed me like the most unbelievable burger, I'm not gonna go, well, that might be shit, because it's not gonna be shit. It's a burger.
How do you know? How do you know what it's going to taste like?
I've
You've
had a
never
gastric
tried it.
sleeve and I'm on more fucking point with how the food is than you.
I don't know. It just looks good.
The food tastes
Just
great
looks
at
good.
Blues.
I never said. Oh no, maybe I did
Fuck
say
apologies,
taste.
you know. You
I don't
did.
know. It just
Oh.
looks good. And there's more options, isn't there? Not that I eat them.
I'm all about the Bovril, to be fair, lads. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I can't.
God,
I
you've
can't be
ruined
doing
me
with the
now.
Bovrils. I can't be doing with them.
Listen, Bovril
Bovril
is
is
the
disgusting. No, it's not.
Rank.
Bovril is
Rank.
disgraceful.
Lanes.
No,
You either love it or you hate it, don't you? There's no in between, and it's not for me.
Yeah.
But
But
I should never know.
You
I've
haven't
never
tasted
tried
it. There we go.
No, I have. I've had a sip.
You Bovril
A
bastards.
Yeah, a sip. Yeah, a sip's enough to tell whether you're gonna like something or not. But the food has improved. The food has improved.
I
Other
would
things to improve
go on
the
then,
matchday
Jamie.
experience.
Jamie,
Maybe
what's the food
maybe
like at the Blues?
Yeah, it's all right. It's good actually. To be fair, like it has improved. It's nice. I think just obviously you can't help the fan base and how there's about a 25-minute waiting queue if you go at the wrong time, and that's a bit of a nose. But we move. Yeah, it's good. I think there's no issue with it. I think it's nice to have the pies and stuff at the game, you know. But I really, really am eyeing up the idea of a nice beef Wellington on a Saturday afternoon. Now,
Who
says no? Who says no?
No, it's good, man.
Nah.
Hot dogs, all that standard.
Yeah,
big man,
exactly.
Big man food that I could eat.
Yeah, but the food, I think nobody's wanting the lasagnas like Zach is. You know, that fucking middle
I
class.
don't want a lasagna. It's just an example, man.
I do have. I have one critique which annoys me: the fucking scanning system for the tickets. Ball ache. Right? Like, I'm not being funny. I get it. They need to scan it. Understandable. But when it's taking fucking, so if I bring 4 of us and obviously I have it all on my phone, all 4 tickets. So obviously I'm getting all of us in at the same time. Why is it taking people like a minute to scan it? Bro, it's there. Just scan it, and it's there like.
Yeah. Would you be in favour of those automatic machines just to stick your thing in? Yeah. Because that would be much better rather than having people on the gates. Because those people can be used for other things then as well.
It's a ball ache. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's raining, it's cold, and you're stood there like an absolute lemon. You know, you don't want to get your phone out and it's slamming it down with rain as well. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I know phones are built a bit more waterproof nowadays, but if you've got a mini crack in your phone's fucked.
Yeah, you're getting stress levels. I need a lasagna quick.
I do like the idea of things staying quite. I do like the idea of things staying pretty. Fuck's sake.
We'll stop now, Zach. We'll stop.
I like the idea of things staying pretty traditional, though. In that,
I know what you mean.
A lot of clubs introducing like fan zones or whatever these days, where you've just got a lot going on and everything. And at the end of it, like they look good, but I just want to go to the football and watch Blues and support Blues. And I'm not too, I like the idea of just going to a proper football ground where they do things, how they did 20 years ago, pie and a pint, whatever, even though I won't eat or drink either of them. But you know what I mean? I just like
I've got the gym
idea.
in the morning, lad. I need to keep those gains on.
I just like the idea of things being quite traditional and quite as great as it is to implement these different things and ideas. I like the idea of just going to the football, enjoying it, having a good time. And there probably are things that can be implemented that will make it even better. But I don't know. I'm just waffling. Forget it. This podcast's been a disaster for me.
I'm sure Mr. Cooks, when he comes in, obviously with all his Man City knowledge, I'm sure he'll bring some ways of bettering the experience anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think
park outside and that.
Yeah. I think certain things that can be improved. I think the music at the Blues definitely needs to be improved. Nothing about the music says Blues to me. It's all just techno pop dance tracks, really, that I've not got any. I understand that they might do it for the players and the warm-up routines. I remember that was something that was being said about some managers. They put like a soundtrack on that's similar to the ones they worked throughout the week. But I'm like, yeah, I get that. But also as well, you want to listen to Mr. Blue Sky. You want to listen to a bit of Ocean Colour Scene. You want to listen to a bit of whatever's blues songs that are out there. I remember we used to have we're going back a bit now, but we used to have like the Proclaimers on before, obviously with McLeish, things like that. But there doesn't seem to be like that sort of feel around those things really. So it's like we got to bring back a little bit. Like we used to have the flag as well before. We used to pass that around.
Yes.
That small things like that, I feel like could be a massive help in just making the ground feel a bit better. Because obviously we are in a shit state. We've been terribly ran over the last few years with BSHL. You know, they're not going to be the same owners. We might not be as good next season. This is a personal opinion of mine. I don't think we'll be any better next season. I think that will be better ran because BSHL, we're clearly not investors in the way that investors are in Garry Cook, Tom Wagner, Jeremy Dale. They're here for the club now. They're here to make sure that this works, and they're going to put in their effort for this. I feel like that's going to be the selling point for me next season because I was running out of ideas for the next season, really, to be honest.
I think one thing that needs improving as well, which is similar on the lines to music, but the sound system at Blues is awful. The amount of times I'll have like a decent guest coming on at half time and they'll be talking, I can't understand a word of what they're saying. It is exactly like that. I have no idea what they're saying half the time.
BTEC Kenny off South Park, all of them, man. I can't hear it.
I literally don't understand, but I don't think a lot needs improving, to be fair. I think there's a good amount going on outside the ground and around the ground. I mean, I can't think of too much that would personally improve the matchday experience for myself and other fans, I guess.
Well, one thing interestingly that I've read up about him is that he introduced this My First City game, which is sort of like you got like people to come around and this is Garry Cook, by the way. He got people to come and write their memories of watching the City team for the first time. He got Ricky Hatton to do it as well, but they're all like placed around the inside of the stadium and everything, so you can read them when you're going through. It's like John 51 or whatever. Like my first City game was this. Played this game and everything. I feel like we've obviously seen. From what I've read about is the fact that we have been seeing a drop off in season ticket holders. Obviously, the stadium being half closed, that doesn't help at all. But like, I think from like the next generation of fans as well, I think for stuff like that, if he's got his knowledge in that, you know, trying to get that citizens program, which might all, you know, it wasn't exactly his way of, wasn't exactly his idea, but he definitely influenced something like that with Manchester City. I feel like if he can do that for City in a city like Manchester as well, so Birmingham's even a bigger city, you know, it's more than possible and everything as well because, you know, we're a big city. We've got a big support as well. So I feel like something like that will be massive helpful for us getting more season ticket holders as well.
Like I said, we're called Birmingham City. Like we are, you know, we're not some little shitty suburb in Birmingham known as Aston. Do you know what I mean? We are literally in a little pipe down little suburb over there. Do you know what I mean? Like we are the name, so we've got an attractiveness from that alone.
The growth potential of Birmingham City is massive. It is huge. We are the second city. We are an established club. You know, we were Premier League not long ago. There is so much potential for both. But both the club and the city of Birmingham, there is just so much potential for growth, development of both the city and the club. So yeah, I think hopefully Cook can come in, implement some new ideas, implement past ideas that have worked at previous clubs, and hopefully just start getting us on the right track and the right path. But I don't think we've spoken about this on the podcast before, our first Blues games. Maybe we have we? Do you remember? I don't think we have.
I don't really remember, if I'm honest.
I
can't remember your first Blues game. Really? Oh shit! Do you remember your very first football game, like football game in general, or no? Would it have been a Blues game?
I remember my first ever game that I sort of remember because it was the Blues Villa game from back in 2004, I think it is, when David Dunn scores, and I remember it because I was coming down. I must have been like 3 or something.
Yeah, you would have been
downstairs.
Like
2 or 3, maybe like that. It might have been one of my earliest memories, actually. But I remember coming downstairs with the game being on, and my dad jumps up and celebrates when David Dunn scores. And so I start crying, thinking, what the fuck's going on? And run back upstairs. So I didn't know what the hell's going on there. But I remember that quite well. But my first ever Blues game I went to was Blues QPR on Boxing Day 2006. That was my first Blues game. I sat in the paddocks as well. Saw Matthew Upson editing right in front of me. So Matthew, if you're watching, what a fucking header.
My first Blues game was dry as fuck, and it's a bit like how the last decade has been. But it was 2011. It was Blues Wigan. It was 0-0. There was a red card that game. Can't remember who got sent off, but there was a red card that game.
That was the game
first.
that got us officially a year unbeaten at St Andrews, weren't it? And he played fucking 4-5-1 with Cameron Jerome up front.
Yeah, it was.
I remember
That
being
was my
livid.
first Blues game, but I remember that being. It's
Oh,
great
yeah.
walking into the stadium for the first time, but
Wow.
the game.
Yeah, I
was
remember
great.
that game actually now. Was it Gardner who got sent off? He just got shown a straight red, didn't he?
I don't know. Let me have a
Yeah,
look.
it is. I've just searched it up here. Yeah, Gardner
It
got
was.
sent off. Yeah,
you
2010
go.
it was actually.
2010.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So September 25th, 2010. Zach Wood's first game.
Little old me in the paddocks as well. I was.
Nice.
So yeah.
If you want to take your
Paddocks
kids to
gang.
become a Blues fan for life, it's the
Yeah.
Paddocks. I'm telling you.
It's the paddocks. It does it. It's a special place. Magical,
I think
mate.
my dad used to sit there when he used to go when he was younger as well. So it might actually. Be
I like
fun.
the upper paddocks. I really like the upper paddocks. I
Yeah,
haven't sat
well,
there for a
that's-
few years now, but
Yeah, I'd always call that the main stand because the Paddocks is
I
like the
like the
bottom
main
bit.
stand.
yeah, true. Yeah, main stand then. But I like it up there. It's good.
What about you, Jamie? Come on, you got to get those cogs in your head turning. Lad. I know it's a bit
This is
squeaky
going to
up
sound
there.
really bad. Well, thanks, mate. It's going to sound really bad, but I always supported Blues, but I never went to a game until I was like 15, 16.
Right.
So 2010, and it was the 0-0 against Chelsea, where Benitez fucking scored and they called it offside. And then watch it back on Match of the Day, livid because it actually stood.
That fucking annoyed me. That did.
Yeah.
That really, really annoyed me. Yeah. No, I remember that game well. Damian Johnson hit the post. Did he not? He had a chance in the second half at least, though. Yeah.
I remember Joe Hart had a great game that game as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he saved he got his head cut as well, didn't he? So he had like a bandage on his head. Yeah, that was Boxing Day 2009. It just looks up then.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So both of us went to Boxing Day games.
Yeah,
for
man.
our first Blues games. Where were you sat for that game?
Family stand, I think.
Right. So where is that main stand then?
Yeah.
Yeah. I only say that though because the family stand was in the Cop Block 40 for that season, which is like the worst possible place you could have put it as well. It's like right next to the away fans. Yeah, Garry Cook better not be making decisions like that because if he is, then there's not many kids going to be coming back next season.
No.
You want to go again? No.
My second ever Blues game was a Boxing Day game. That was Blues Man United 1-1. I think it was Larson that scored in the last minute. I think it was Larson.
Bowyer scored in the last minutes, yeah.
There you go.
Berbatov scored to make it 1-0.
Yeah.
And we kept them fucking quiet all game as well. And then Berbatov had one moment of beauty and it's like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, we got well. We probably didn't. If I remember rightly, that goal that we scored was probably should have been disallowed because if I remember rightly, the ball comes over the top of Ferdinand.
Yeah.
It hits his arms when he puts his hands down and Bowyer taps it in. But yeah, we got lucky in the end of that season. We really did, and we deserved to go down. Really, to be honest.
Well.
But yeah, I feel like yeah. What else was I going to say?
I think we've covered most things. To be fair, haven't we?
There was another point I was literally just about to make though on Garry Cook. Oh, for fuck's sake, I've lost it now. That's annoying me. I think, yeah, no, it's gone. I don't know. What? There's definitely another point in there somewhere. There's one last question I can ask.
This is why we can't do a podcast live, fellas.
I know.
Oh, the amount of editing you have to do, Tommy.
The thing is, though, if we got a live podcast, we could introduce some other guests, like some fan voices on. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We could always do that.
Sure, Zach doesn't offer him out for a scrap.
Zach,
why would I fight
Zach offers
anyone?
them out for the scrap.
I don't fight anyone. I'm a civil man, mate. I'm a civil man. Never
Take a look
thrown
at yourself and your
punch.
blurred background.
It's only blokes.
My
It's a mess.
My man can't be asked
never-
to clean his bed, you get me?
Never thrown a punch.
Listen, I've been in London for 2 days. Worked a fucking 15-hour day yesterday. Worked 7 hours today, and I'm back in 15 hours. Man, I am fucking tired.
There you go.
Yeah.
Should be retiring soon, though, no, mate.
You're pushing
I
it
know.
now, aren't you?
I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Time are you trying the fucking food down St Andrews?
£8 per pie.
Oh man.
Well,
Right.
I suppose we can finish on this question and just ask what we hope for next season. Realistically, what's the ideas we've got for next season? Because it's a tricky one now.
Yeah. For me, I just want to see performances improve on the pitch and Blues to start picking up some more points and not finish 17th or below. I'd love a mid-table finish, and I think I said on the podcast a few weeks ago I'd be happy with like a 13th, 14th finish. But I genuinely would, because it just shows that small little bit of progress that we're pushing forward. If we can start, going up to the Premier League, right, and pushing for a playoff place, right, it's very rare that it happens in a season where a club, or not very rare, but it's unlikely a club sort of goes from the bottom end of the Championship all the way to the Premier League. Luton did it, Forest did it, a few examples in recent times, but it doesn't happen often. We just want Blues to be making small progress each season until we're at that point where we're a consistent top half Championship side. We can start pushing for the playoffs. I just want us to progress, and I don't think it's too much to ask. Just small steps each season until we can hopefully get back to the Premier League where we belong. That's all I want for next season. Performances to improve on the pitch, us to pick up a few more points, make a few decent signings, invest in the club and the youth system, and just get Blues back to where they belong, man, because it's been far too long now that we've been stuck in this mess. So we'll have to see what it brings.
Jamie, what do you hope for next season? Fucking
Right,
this is not an ASMR channel.
This ain't ASMR, mate. This is Blues Focus. My God.
Just a top, like anywhere pushing anywhere near that top 10 and having a squad that isn't full of fucking loans and it's our own, and a good like young squad that's actually going to come through and do all right.
Yeah, I can get.
I'm not saying the Arsenal model, but the way Arsenal have gone about it, in like, you know, they've signed them young lads and now they're starting to blossom into good players. Mm-hmm. Fucking Austin Trusty and Sanderson would be a great start.
That centre-back pairing would be disgusting. And I've seen a few people, and I get why people are questioning it, because a few of these last season's loans have been talked about in terms of they might be available this summer, etc., etc. And people have their reservations, and I kind of do get it, because this squad did finish 17th last season. But I think Trusty and Sanderson, they're both young, they're both quick, agile, fast defenders. Technically, I think Trusty is a superb defender. I would be so happy going into next season if that was our centre-back duo, and it won't be. I can't see us getting Trusty at all. Sanderson might happen. Can't see us getting Trusty whatsoever, but yeah, I can see why people are reluctant to get some of the loans back, because at the end of the day, the squad didn't exactly produce the greatest of results last season. But Trusty, come on. No one can say they don't want Trusty back at Blues, surely. I'm sure there are people who don't want him back, and they'll have their reasons, but yeah, I'd love Trusty back so much.
Yeah, I agree with you, because that centre-back partnership for the time that they were performing well was fantastic, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
It was that back three, wasn't it? It was Trusty normally played on the left, and he, to be fair, left back or left centre-back, wherever Trusty played last season, he always did a fantastic job, I think.
I also think the Championship is also very changeable as well. So it's one of those divisions where you can just sort of keep the same players and have an amazing next season. So it was like Leeds; they kept most of their players when they were going back up towards the top of the Championship. You know, and they didn't really buy that many players. They bought a few here and there. They just got a decent manager, good way of playing, and then they were starting to make performances. So we could pretty much do the same thing next season. Fuck it, who knows? Maybe, I don't know, Huddersfield could do it as well. You know, it's just how it goes, really, I think. So I feel I
agree. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. No, it's okay. It's just, I feel like we just need to have a bit more desire to go and win the game next season, I think, because we've tried. I think Eustace has been a bit reserved in the fact that he don't want to get sacked. He's done well to see out this season. I think he's definitely going to get next season's job. I mean, like, to replace him now would be maybe
suicide.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it's like, I understand if the owners are going to do it. Even then, I still think that would be a daft idea to do. You know, if they were going to do it, they should have done it pretty much immediately. As soon as they got there and had the intentions to bring in a new manager. But yeah, I think give Eustace the job next season, and then
he can only get better. It's his first year in his senior job.
Tell him to go and win some games, you know, whether it's a 1-0 or a 5-0 thrashing. Just fucking get that goal. You get more goals than them. Simple as.
If you're drawing 1-1 away at Wigan Athletic, do not sub Mark fucking Roberts on in the 89th minute, please, John. Thanks. Nice one.
And the passive aggressive comments are back. Come on, Jamie.
No, it's little things like that, isn't it? But I think he learned a lot from this season. I think I'd be interested to see, because he clearly wants to play a style of good football. And I think now that he's kind of exiled who he wanted to out of the squad, I think with this backing when it comes through, I think he will be able to sign more athletic footballers.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting if that back five comes back into play a bit more with actual footballers who he trusts to play in the back five. Because that back five can be deadly if used correctly. If it's not,
yeah,
you know what I mean. So
every formation can be super effective. 4-4-2 still can be. We just got to find ways to do it.
4-4-2 down St Andrews, don't we?
I think that's what the idea is behind some of the identity that I've been reading up on. Really, in the Blues, I feel like even though Garry Cook hasn't said much about Blues just yet, and I don't think he will be as well. I think they will be keeping more. I think they'll be keeping communications a bit more quietly, just in the way that they've sort of took over the club. I don't know about you guys, but with Paul Richardson, which in hindsight, thank fuck that deal didn't go through, because they had fucking no money. When you really think about it, they had no investments. We don't know about Dale or anybody just yet, but there's proper people behind it, not fucking Matt Southall.
I mean, the fact that the EFL have already approved it shows that there's actually good intention there.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, so I feel like it's again, don't really need communications if things are going well. So we only need communications when things are just nothing's happening. Simple as, really. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next season. We're gonna win the league. We're gonna box Simon Jordan.
Yeah, get Bassini involved. Good.
Thank you guys for listening to the Blues Focus podcast with me, Tommy Kelsall, Jamie Lawler, and Zach Woods. Thank you guys for joining me.
No worries, mate. Enjoyed it.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you very soon. Keep right on.
Keep right on, guys.
Keep right on.